Thankfully,
Hello.
You are live.
We are live and ready to go. All right, we have a quorum.
maybe.
We do.
Hey, we need some
Welcome.
women up here, though. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Pryor Creek Rec Center Board regular meeting, Monday, December the 5th, 2022. Item number 1, call to order. Item number 2, discuss possibly approving minutes from November the 7th, 2022 regular meeting. Those have been provided for you.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented.
Motion made by Riff,
Second.
second by Lamar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3, petitions from the audience. Jess, you got anything to add? Okay. All right. Seeing none, we'll move to item number 4, discuss possible recommended council action regarding expenditure in amount of $2,750 to Electrical Services Incorporated for Pryor Creek, for repair of the Pryor Creek Recreational Center pool pump at the Pryor Creek Recreational Center from Aquatics Repair and Maintenance Account 848465091. From bids received, other bids received, S&D Electrical Motors Incorporated 3,000.
Okay, so this is the pump in the pool room, and basically it's leaking. It's been just sort of leaking, so I've been trying to keep an eye on it, and because it's gonna require a shutdown of the pool. So I didn't wanna do this unless we absolutely had to, but over the last week, it started leaking a lot, and then when Jackie showed me the comparison picture of now versus like 2 months ago when this started, it's starting to cause some damage to the actual pump itself. So it's time to get it fixed. And so these are the 2 bids that came in. We do have plenty of money in repair and maintenance to go ahead and take care of it. And with this time of the year, Jackie, if this gets approved tonight and tomorrow night, Jackie will get a hold of Brian and see parts-wise if this is something we could do over the break. Might be a good time, Christmas, New Year's, to maybe shut down Thursday, Friday of one of those weeks. It's at minimum 2 days. But if we time it right, hopefully it won't be any more than that. So we'll make sure we have the parts, we'll make sure we have the people who are gonna pull it, but it will have to be pulled and taken and fixed and brought back, so.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm curious, how much does a pump like this cost?
And brand new, I have no idea. This
I
is
just
just a
was
repair.
curious.
I mean, I know the pool heater that we budgeted for was over 25,000.
Yeah,
So-
the heater was.
Do what?
Yeah, the heater was.
The heater was, so I don't know.
Not sure about the pump.
Not sure about a pump. We haven't had any issues with the pump since I've been there, so,
Pool pump at the park pool, a few years ago was, I think, $4,500. Okay. I just was looking at it and wondering, well, to repair it's $2,750. I'd hate to find out there's $3,200 to get you a brand new one. I'm just throwing it out there, I just was curious.
I can double check. I mean, I can,
I
I feel like Brian, with the relationship we have with Brian, that's something he would have said. There's no sense in putting,
It's to rebuild that pump, it's that, and that's the labor.
I don't know that he, I mean, if it could be replaced for shortly or just a little over that, I think he would have said, why don't you just get a new one? But that's total assumption, so.
Do you want to double check for us, Jessica?
Yeah, can we table this and I'll text him and then do the director's report and see if I can get him to respond before we leave?
You won't need a table.
We won't?
You don't need a table. You can leave it open and go to the next item.
Okay.
There's not
Do
been
you
a
want to
motion
text
yet.
him real quick?
Let's just make sure.
You want me to do my,
Yes, that would be great.
while you're doing that?
So I would ask, kind of follow up with the questions. I mean, I was wondering, so he came out and looked at it, and he's assuming that these gaskets just need to be reinstalled. There's nothing wrong with the pump, it's just the gaskets, or?
It's just the pump itself is fine, it's leaking around.
So it's the gasket.
outside of the gasket
Okay.
causing it to leak, yes.
Okay.
He goes into more detail on the next page. Just to-
Oh, it is. Oh, okay, I see it.
That's actually a different company. That's the other bid.
Yeah, they just
That's
see.
what it read.
So
Never mind.
replace the gasket.
Disregard, Houston, that's it.
Okay, so he's just replacing the gaskets. So it looks like the majority of this is gonna be labor.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So those items on.
So I don't know if there's a
not whole lot-
need.
A whole lot of items on a pump
Yeah.
that are really gonna go bad. You might have a bearing, you might have, if the bearing starts to wear, then it's gonna do that, and it's gonna cause the seals to start going. So when you rebuild the pump, you rebuild the whole thing, so. At least, that's what I know.
It's more than I thought.
While we're waiting on that, is it all right, Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
You have two of these reports. One is October and one is November. And one of the reasons you have both of those is so that you have a comparison of what happens month to month. So on the October 31st, this is the one that you, I believe this is the one that you got last month. And when you compare page 56 to page 56 on both reports, you can see the difference in the total liabilities and equity, total liabilities and the equity. Turning, and the next page, page 57, the sales tax, you can see the differences there in the totals. If you go to the next page, you can see how those numbers are running. So with 42% of the year on the November 30 report, you see that 34.1% of those those budget items have been spent. And that is an indication of keeping the expenses in check. It's also an indication of us being able to manage all of those items. The outside services, number 5075. You notice that it did not change. I go down that line, the percentage line, and I look at the items that are high percentage-wise, like the computer tech support, like the outside services. At the bottom of the page, the capital outlay equipment. We know what that's about. Trying to do repairs. Excuse me. The next page, the aquatics seem to be in good shape there. And when you look at revenue sources, we're doing well there. Child watch, the fitness salaries, and the fitness line. Turn to the last page. Net revenue over expenses for the month of November 23,442 compared to October of 26,209. But when you look at the year-to-date actual, that item that's in parentheses there, 116,487 on the October, and you look at the 93,044 on the November. So that item, that number's going down. That's good. And that's good. I'm sure you'll take that and you'll digest it. Do you have any questions on it, on the finance report? Jessica's got a little more current report in that regard from her calculations from the record system. Did I answer any questions?
Any questions, anyone? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Do you want that Myers financial now, or do you want to go back to the other?
Again, since we're already on this, yeah. We can go back to that line item if you've got an answer. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so you can see, I mean, relatively close to the same. Memberships actually dropped, even though we had 121 new members and our retention rate was 85%. But one thing that we are doing is we are canceling, which doesn't really affect that number, but we are canceling auto pay people who their cards are continuously declining. And that way we can just cancel them and be done. And if they happen to come back in, it will show that they're inactive. Whereas if they come in right now, they still get to check in, and whoever's checking them in doesn't know that their card's been declined for 3 or 4 months. And so it's a glitch in the rec center, or the rec track software that we have. So Jess is doing a good job, and Kim on staying on top of that, so that we can collect some of those funds. And then other than that, pool parties were good this month. We did not have any swim lessons. She'll pick that back up in January, but other than that, it's about relatively pretty much the same. Looking for an increase at the first of the year, of course. Anybody have any questions on?
And the elf is back.
The elf is back. Brittany loves the elf. Okay, so Brian, I just got a hold of Brian. He said you're looking at $10,000 or more for a pump, because you have to do the motor as well. So he said, from what he can tell, there's no issues with the motor. He said if for some reason they were to get in there and realize there was a motor issue, then yes, he would recommend getting the whole new thing. But he said right now this is just a gasket issue on the outside, and it just costs a little bit to rebuild it. So
Great question.
it was a great question.
If it
Yeah,
happens to go down, now we know what it's gonna cost.
yes, it's true.
Quote, $10,000. Any further discussion on item number 4? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion made by Lamar,
Second.
second by Riff. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed. My item passes, and we'll continue on with item number 5, Director's Report.
Okay, repair and maintenance. As far as the HVAC update, the projects from the engineer, the roof project was completed, so everything's been properly, lifted off of the roof, and condensation lines have been replaced, and so everything's great there. The bid for the group fitness room, the new HVAC unit, emailed Steve again, didn't hear from him, reached out to Dalton Powell, and he said that no one has bid on it. So I asked him, why are people not bidding on it? It's something that we need. He said, I think with the holidays and there's still a material shortage, it's a mixture of being super busy and possibly hard to give an accurate quote with prices of materials constantly rising. We haven't had many bids on other projects lately either, so it's not just this. I will be reaching back out to the companies, asking more companies to see what I can get done for you. So I'll just stay on him. He did ask when the next board meeting was, and I told him January 7th, so told him I'd like to have the update by then. So that's for the new HVAC unit for the group fitness room. They still haven't received any bids. Credit card fee update, I reached out to Rob last week to see what the latest was with that. He told me that he would look into it and get back to me. I reached out to him today. I still haven't heard back from him. So the problem is the card company and our software getting on the same page so that once we kick this off, it all works smoothly. So I don't know who the holdup is. The credit card company says it's RecTrack. RecTrack says that they've never done this before, so I don't know. I don't know. But then when I talked to one person at RecTrack, they said it would be really easy to do. So as soon as we can do it, I will let you know. But as of right now, we're kind of waiting on them to figure out how we can all get on the same page. Did you notice the trees are gone? Did you see the trees are gone? Yeah.
I did.
Yes, looks very good. So Brandon Storm got those taken care of, and it looks very nice. We have had wildlife come out, and we're taking care of our pigeon problem that was getting ridiculous, especially over the aquatics area. You could easily go in to that mechanical room, and there would just be pigeon stuff everywhere. So he's hopeful that should be improving soon. So he's coming out twice a week to check on that.
Was that all the shooting that I heard the other night?
No shooting. No shooting.
Shoot the wildlife.
Oh,
No
I'm sorry,
guns
that
were
was-
involved
it
in
was
the
deer
process.
season, I'm
No
sorry.
animals were
Deer season.
injured.
Lots of dove.
No animals were injured in this.
That's right. We got Unit 6 fixed. That was the emergency that we had to pass through last month, and then Unit 5 went down. It was a blade and motor issue, so I'm waiting on a bill for that, but that had to be fixed. And then the pool pump bid. So I think that was all on repair and maintenance, I think. Okay, finance report, we've done that. Aquatics report.
If I could make a comment.
Sure.
About repair and maintenance. So this facility was set up in 2005, right? So normally when you're approaching 20 years, you've got HVAC, you've got motors, you've got things that are electrical, you got things that are needing to be replaced or needing to be repaired or needing to be rebuilt. So this is going to be something that will be ongoing. So when you take a brand-new facility and then you work it for about 20 years, then this is what we come up against with all this equipment. So that's something that we'll be dealing with. And I just want to encourage the board to make the repairs when they're needed and not to let them lay.
On that HVAC, was the issue with that the air conditioner or the heat? The one that was in the one that we're looking to replace?
So the emergency one was it just quit
Okay.
working. And it was a compressor, I believe. This one
But the
was-
one we're looking to replace. in
Well,
the,
the one that we're looking to replace should have never been put on that room to begin with, because they need a special kind for that
Okay.
room because of the humidity, the way they keep the temperature in that room and the flooring. And if you'll remember correctly, remember like 6 months after I got here, we had Casca come in and paint all of that. It's already chipping away. And it's because there's so much condensation and humidity and stuff in the room and so he said that unit should have never been placed in that room. It takes a special unit for that area. And so this new unit will be just for that area, for that room, and it should eliminate
okay.
that issue.
And if you will, remind us again we had the study done on the humidity.
Yes.
The options they had, one of the options was to replace that wall,
Yes,
correctly?
yes.
And of course, that was going to be an expensive option, but what was the other?
That was really the only option I was given for that area.
Okay.
And then so there were 3 things he said: take the drain lines off the roof, replace the unit in the group fitness room, and then the wall in there.
So basically, the wall is the third
Yes.
piece that we haven't completed,
Yes.
which we expect. Did we ever get any numbers on that?
It's close to $1 million. I believe it's 9.
It was not,
It's close to $1 million. So I didn't bring it to you as an option. But,
No.
yeah,
Wow.
that kind of decided that. Plus, not only are you out that money, but you're down for weeks probably for pool and pool revenue.
And then the roof, we haven't had any issues with the roof, with all the rain that we've been getting?
Not recently. We haven't had any
All of them.
with this last bit, so we
Okay.
just kind of take it rain by rain. But I will say they're amazing, and he still reaches out, and then if I do have an issue, they're out within a couple
Perfect.
hours, and
Perfect.
so I have no complaints
So
about
that was a
this.
great investment.
Yes, and with having the 20-year warranty, they're gonna keep doing that the whole time,
Wonderful.
so.
The $1 million estimate was for that wall, for the humidity, yes.
Both sides. Mhm.
So what is our plan for that? Are we just gonna ignore it for,
No, I don't think we can ignore it.
Several.
We just got to figure out what other options. I mean, that was the only option this person gave to us. It might behoove us to look at another,
It may behoove us to look at another engineer, but that was an engineer that we engaged in his services.
And he did use the other lady, and
That's correct.
And what did we pay for that study?
7,500, I believe that's what that outside service,
7,000, 8,000.
yeah,
Yes.
7,500, I believe.
Something we might consider doing is taking that paperwork and creating a claim and see what insurance will say about it. It doesn't cost us anything to do that.
Yeah.
And we pay good money for insurance. We have that insurance with Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group, and the only reason they exist is to assist cities with things like this. So let's take that
Okay.
information and we'll create a claim and see where it goes.
and that's an option.
Yeah,
Just talking about this very thing today, as a matter of fact.
Houston, is that a good idea?
Well, obviously, they're gonna have an adjuster, and the adjuster's gonna come out and say, I mean, they're gonna be looking for significant damage, and they're gonna say, I mean, they're always gonna refer back to, okay, you knew this was this way when we built the building, so I don't anticipate that to be an easy, yes, we'll pay for it. I think there's gonna be some kickback, but it would be worth having the discussion. There may be something in there, and the fact that they are in business to support municipalities, it might be worth entertaining, just to see what they say. I mean, you can always say no, but at least we've marked off another avenue.
Yeah, because one thing, not only the wall, but like we have the open-ended, the open areas into each locker room. He said that should have never
See,
happened.
having that
Very-
report, that $7,500 report that he put out there would be helpful in a claim like this.
Well, and he did help as far as he did all the specs for that unit that we need for the group fitness room and gave all that to Stephen Dalton, so that was very helpful. Same thing with the roof project, he got me all of that was line by line what they needed to do up there, so, to me, we got stuff back for that 7,500 for sure.
Yeah, and I think obviously we replaced the roof because of two issues. One, we were leaking just based off of where the air conditioners were sitting, so on and so forth, and the fact that we had split level roofs. But second of all would be because that humidity issue. So that you can refer back to that as being potential or actual damage. They're not gonna roll over and say, yeah, we'll pay it. But if we provide all of those documentation by a third party, similar to a public adjuster, then we've got documentation showing that it's worthy of at least turning it in as a potential claim.
I'll get with you in that process, because I'm not sure how that works.
Everybody agree with that?
Okay, worth a shot. Okay, speaking of the pool, swim parties, she had 19 public parties, 4 private, I said we, and 14 completed swim lessons. So Jackie's finishing up a few right now, but then she won't get started back, of course, until after the holidays. So she'll have group and private starting back in January. Personnel report, one thing that Jess and I have spent the last week doing in us thinking about me transitioning out and someone else coming in is just making sure everything's in place. There's no gray areas, everything's black and white. We've talked about personal training stuff before, and it was just time to come in and with Jess being kind of a fresh set of eyes on everything and seeing things that I've been, focused on other things and have missed. And so it's been really, really good for us to come together, meet with each staff member individually and kind of talk to them about, where do you think we need to make some changes? Where do you see some things that need to be fixed? And then us letting them know we need everybody to be following the same rules, the same policies, the same guidelines. So some of that, some of those people need to kind of come up to the same expectation level. So, and some of those expectations haven't been real clear cut, and not that anybody was intentionally not doing what they were supposed to, not saying that at all, but just making sure it was all very clear from floor staff to front desk to our full-time people to our guards. So it's going to mean requiring a little bit more out of front desk and clocking in and out better, getting our time adjustments to Lisa better, just all over the board. So I think it's been amazing. Change is a little difficult for people, so we've battled through that this past week, but I feel like we're in a good place with it. Do you want to add anything to that?
That's a pretty good summary. Just, yeah, I've seen it. Also, if anyone had any, not only red flags, but grievances with how things are being run, and that way we're aware and can address them as well.
So it's good.
Good.
Yes.
What is your timeline?
So I gave, my last day will be April 6th. So, probably need to meet and decide how that works as far as opening the job, interviews, and maybe a start date, and if that can cross over with me at all, but I have already started kind of pulling Jess in, so I'll make sure Jess is completely aware of my duties. And I've started working on a book that'll kind of, I'm trying to get everything up here on paper, which is really hard, but we have time, so just making sure everything's in place. Make it as easy as possible, so.
How long have you been in that position now?
It was 2 years in August, so not quite 2.5. Seems like forever.
I'm not sure we're going to accept that resignation. Pretty sure it'll go before
We
the
don't have to
council.
accept it.
And there will be no,
We can refuse the resignation.
But it's been good though then they feel part of it. And I will say that's something, I know Jess has mentioned it to Houston, but that is something when you all do start interviewing and bringing people in, letting the staff be a part of that so that they feel like they're, maybe not a part of your interview, but at least have their own little interview and time with the candidates so they can put their, because I think that's a big fear that they all have. They just want to make sure it's the right fit.
So is it not time that we would start doing that? Because I would think,
Better start.
I mean, especially if you were trying to have any crossover between a new candidate and say, here you get the luxury of being able to work with someone for 45 days or 60 days or something that I don't think would be posting the position now. Myself, I don't know.
Houston and I talked about that, and Jess we talked about that a couple of months ago, and we kind of looked at January as being probably a good time to start that process.
we had an open position, it hasn't been filled, so some of the money that was set aside in the budget for that position could be transferred over to this individual coming on early, to where otherwise we'd have two directors working at the same time, which would be more payroll.
Yeah.
But if we already have a position open that's sitting there. Agreed. 100%. I think it would be great. And that way, what you can't get out of here on here, you can translate.
Yeah.
And we don't need to be in a rush. We don't need to be in a rush about it. We need to make the right choice. Take time to do interviews and take time for orientation and that sort of thing.
And I would encourage all the board members, when we start doing interviews, to please try to participate in those interviews. That way, we've got a cohesiveness between, and the board. In the past, it's only been one or two. I don't know, most of you wasn't on the board by then, but it's nice to have that and having the teammates visit with them as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nothing can go wrong from that at all. I mean, it's pretty much management 101, we should be doing that.
Yeah, I think that's key, very important. Okay. Okay, quickly, just miscellaneous. I told you about the 121 new members, 85% retention. One issue we're kind of dealing with right now, from what I've heard, and I don't know this for sure, but some of the schools are not letting kids practice basketball, like elementary teams. So we are being bombarded every day with teams wanting to come in and practice, wanting to rent it, wanting to, and we've just made the decision, and I told you guys this, I did this last year, I'm not opening that box because it's too hard when you're confined to half of the gym, because we've got to leave the other half open for members, and you already have contracted employees or contracted teams on that side with 5 to them is Jimmy, and so to try to get teams in and out and off the court and on the court, and get their money,
Scheduling
not doing it.
nightmare.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna do it. So, I feel bad about it, but we just can't meet the need of the community right there. So, we just opted not to go there. our rule kind of right now is unless you are contracted with us, like Five Tool, or unless you are one of us who is an employee there, then otherwise you cannot be training. Because we do have teams sneaking in trying to practice, so, and we're asking them to leave. So it stinks, but like I said, we just don't have the space right now. Group fitness update, maintain, don't gain. We had 166 sign up, which I was really impressed with. It was just like 9 or 10 down from last year, but we didn't have our CrossFit gyms participate, so I thought that was a great number. So we'll weigh back in January 2nd through the 4th. And then Rebecca mentioned earlier, Jimmy is back. Jimmy the elf is back. So if you come in while Brittany's working, she'll make sure you find Jimmy the elf. But we have a lot of participation in that. So, and we'll give away a free membership. And so people love to play that game. We've released a holiday schedule that's a little different for this next month. And then we are working on our programming for the new year. Our senior classes are booming, and so we've got Cheryl Perkins who has come back, and she wants to teach at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Right now they're 9, 10, and 11 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so she'll offer Tuesday, Thursday at 4. So that's just going to be another option for our seniors, as well as a SAIL class, which stands for strength, agility, I don't know, but it's another senior class, and that's offered through the OU Schusterman Center that did the last free class for us, so they'll come do that one for free. So, yeah, those classes are really full. And then holiday hours, Jess will be back to working weekends, and so she would like the hours on Christmas Eve, so we actually will be open this Christmas Eve. So we have some members I know are going to be really excited about that. So 6 to 2 Christmas Eve, 6 to 2 New Year's Eve, and then close Christmas Day and New Year's Day, which being a weekend, it'll be basically, we'll close those 2 Sundays. For the new year, we have a new step challenge that Kelsey's working out the details, so we'll be trying to kick that off next week, or at least start advertising it. I've got new winter gear coming, hoodies, crew neck, long sleeve. And then one thing I will tell you we're looking at is kind of cutting back on our child watch hours. So you'll notice like it's just progressively, the amount of money we're bringing in on child watch has gone down. We've already cut back from 8:30 to 1, we're now 8:30 to noon. But you know, Stephanie during the day might have 2, she might have 4 or 5, but it's just real hit and miss. So when we were talking the other day, I don't know if it was Jess, but one of them had a good point and said if you offer it less, then they have to come to those times. And so we're looking at maybe not offering it on Friday morning, and maybe not offering it on Wednesday night. So that's just something we're gonna kind of talk through and decide. We're looking at numbers, we're looking to see when everybody's coming and when they're not coming. But then we also know with the new year comes new people, so we're trying to weigh that out. So, but it's hard to hire someone for child watch and then they just sit around and, I mean, we keep them busy cleaning and doing other things, but it's just, child watch has been weird lately, so. And then Brooks Digital, I don't know if you guys remember this, but last year we signed up to become a partner with Pryor Main Street, and one of the things they did, or we were supposed to get, was a free video, promotional video from Brooks Digital. And so they're actually coming out to film that this Friday. So we'll have a little 30-second video that we can put on our Facebook page that will hopefully help highlight the rec center. And then last but not least, we did our burpee bucket challenge last week, the challenge to raise money for Shop with a Cop, and we were able to raise $180 and got that to the police department so that they can use that to go buy Christmas presents for the kids.
Who had to do the burpees?
Actually, Jackie had the most. Jackie had 45. I had 30. I think Jesse was supposed to do 30-something, but Jesse just quit whenever everybody else quit.
Anybody looking? Well, I'm done.
Yeah. I busted him. He came back out and did a few more, but it was fun. It was good to, yeah, it was good. Something different. So, do you all have any questions or?
Questions? All right, Jessica,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, item number 6, unforeseen business. Seeing none, we'll move to item number 7, entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Lamar,
Second.
second by Kemp. All in favor? Aye. Thank you guys very much for your service. And thank you, the staff.